gangs and they can compete with each other on their leaderboards. But as we know from looking around our competitive games like Samurai Siege, Clash of Clans, Rival Kingdoms, they all have some kind of alliance versus alliance play. And we wanted to do something different. We wanted to do something better than most of those games have done. In fact, we can probably grab a video. So this is in dev right now. It's about halfway through. But what we want is I think the key things if you look at Clash of Clans, Samurai Siege, when the gangs fight each other, they're always fighting random opponents. And for me, that really doesn't do anything to build any sense of rivalry or familiarity with other gangs around you. When you play Clash of Clans, you do the clan war thing. I don't know if you've ever played.
Oh yeah.
So you're up there with the clan wars.
Probably 1,500, 2,000.
Right.
Do those points that I made resonate with you?
Oh yeah, I do in a lot of the games.
Okay.
I mean, yeah.
That's interesting.
So
I'm actually playing one called Siege Lord now.
Siege Lord,
yeah,
right,
it's
okay.
pretty good.
I've
You
not
should
played
check
that
it.
yet.
It'll inform stuff.
Yeah.
For you if you
Okay.
just gotta look at
Well, that's interesting. Okay.
They do a lot with voiceover and immersion, just storytelling is
Right,
better.
okay.
Anyways, that's on the side.
Okay, cool. So this is just a quick glimpse of what we're doing with. In fact, actually, let me go to slowly. So what we're doing is we think the first thing is the random opponents. Okay, so this doesn't work to bring gangs together to really compete against each other, to build that familiarity. We think if we can do that, then it's more like Game of War, because Game of War is obviously monetizes so much better than many of the strategy combat games out there, and they do that because they pit the gangs against each other. They also allow them to build super alliances. And really crush each other. So we figure, okay, how can we do that? Well, we'll build a city. So if we put all the gangs in a city, and they have to fight gangs around them, that immediately forms a platform for them to build that rivalry and that familiarity with people around them. So this is the outskirts of the city that we've actually taken off the gangs right now. So this is fully 3D. These red lines show the turfs. So the turfs are what the gangs own. So up to 50 players per gang will run one of these turfs, and this sits outside the main game. So you go into this game, into this feature within the game, and you start to see the turf that your gang owns. The closer to the centre of the city you get, the better the boosts that you've got access to, the more resources you can get access to. So there's a really strong compulsion for the gangs to actually move forward in the city. They can only move forward though by actually climbing over each other, and you can only fight the gangs next to you. So here these icons represent the gangs. These guys are positioned there. The Rex gang are positioned there, and adjacent to them are the hoodlums. But this goes on and stretches on for miles and miles. So this city, with the engine that we've got, the 3D tech we've got, this city can be hundreds of kilometres in diameter. So it can have up to 50 million gangs, up to 50 million players, within it, which is pretty exciting. It all leads to the centre. And right in the middle, there is a position for the #1 gang to be, and everyone in the city will be able to see who that gang is. So there's always a very strong reason.
Can you see that okay, Greg? Can you?
Yeah,
you got that.
It's awesome.
So the engines are all fully 3D. It looks great. I mean, it's still quite early, so we're still augmenting the city. We're making it look fantastic. What we also recognise by doing this, what we are doing is essentially providing a magnet for the most highly engaged, highly spending players in the game to come and fight each other.
Right.
So in Clash of Clans, again, they will have some matchmaking which actually pits highly engaged, high spending whales against each other, but it doesn't really build that rivalry. This does, because once you're in the city centre, you're around those guys that really want to compete with you.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, if you're the #1 dude, like, that's a tough spot to be in.
Well, it is.
You want to sit right there in the centre.
And you want to maintain it,
Yeah.
and that's what you've got to do. You've got to maintain it. So here, the guy who did the video for me is just scrolling out, so he's moving far out of the city. It stretches on for miles and miles and miles. I mean, we can fit a ton of gangs in here. We also have perks. So every time you
all that's going to be explorable too. People are going to be able to check that out, pull that up, pull out the gang, see what they got going.
Yeah, exactly. So you can go into each gang. So each gang's turf, we then have a different representation of, because this is really important for the actual turf wars. So I said you can declare war on people. You can say, okay, we're going to fight those guys. Well, how do you beat them? So what you have to do is you have to go into their turf, and you have a turf war. So all 50 gang members against each other. and the ambition is, the idea is, you've got to kill the leader. So here's the turf view. This is more like a board game view. We didn't want to compete with the city.
Yeah.
The city is the visual representation of the turfs of the gangs where they live. This is more the strategic element of their turf wars and how that plays out. Every gang's got a leader at the back here, so this is my home turf I'm viewing. And then branching off from it, I have these 3 paths, and all these boss bases represent my gang members, and they're all defending me.
Yeah.
So when we go to a turf war, the opposition he's got to kill, they've got to set their gang members loose. They've got cooldowns, so they can only do 1 attack every few hours, so they've got to really think about who they're going to attack, and they've got to actually go down these routes. They've got to kill the 3 bases protecting me, and then they've got to kill me. And if they kill me, they win the turf war, and they get the option to swap turfs.
Okay.
So they get my better turf, and then we get knocked back one.
So that's how it works then. So you don't maintain your turf and then grab theirs too.
No,
Is
no,
that
no.
land grabbing?
No, you move, so you swap.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
so
you are just trying to move positions.
exactly,
Okay.
yeah. So once you move position, then each turf naturally there's a currency we use. We call it bullion.
Yeah.
So each turf actually gives off a certain amount of bullion each over time. So the closer into the city centre you get, the more bullion you get. It's basically we represent it with banks. So each turf's got a bank in it. Banks get bigger the closer to the city centre you get. The bullion's really important because it provides access to the boosts and the power-ups that actually augment these turf wars and provide the arms race. So we wanted to make sure we give a lot of headroom for the gangs and the spenders to actually say, okay, well, how can we make sure that we're really going to win this one?
Right.
You can use the bullion to buy turfs. You can bullion is also distributed by loyalty, so depending on how much the gang members do, they get access to better boosts just by their behaviour. A lot of that from Game of War style, the Alliance store, stuff like that. And that really gives us that spend headroom, I guess, for the gangs to really compete with each other in the centre. We imagine that actually they're going to augment the boosts they use massively with paid for boosts.
Oh, yeah.
It's collaborative. It's highly collaborative. So each base can set a boost to it. So you can make your sniper towers armor piercing. You can set your rocket launchers to fire 3 times as fast. They're some of the different boosts you can get. But to activate them, you've got to get your gang members to contribute. So everyone's going to contribute a consumable currency that they get from the PvP game. So people are motivated to go into the PvP, do a load of raiding, get a load of resources, and then bring them back into GVG to actually to put them into these consumable defences. So the economy's quite tight.
So will be a leader that decides how to spend?
Yeah, there absolutely will.
And position bases as well.
Yeah, the leaders can also. I probably skipped past it a little bit. There's probably a little bit.
Basically place defenders in the right place.
Yeah. So here. Here we go. So here you'll see he's going to swap. The leader's going to say, okay, well this guy. No, he's just done it. You know, she's just done it.
Someone's more badass than another one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
we're in the right time zone.
So those bases just both swapped because the leaders can actually figure out what the best strategy is.
That's awesome.
Which, do they want to put their high-powered defenders right up front as the first guys to attack? Do they want to leave them as a surprise? The great thing about this is that it really encourages scouting and gangs to really research their enemies, who they're going to attack, who's going to attack who, how are we going to figure out our attack here. If I go forward a little bit, what I'll do is I'll show you how a war actually starts. So here we go. So this is a gang leader. A gang leader is the only one who can start the war, or one of his subordinates. So here he's. It's a bit unclear to see. We're going to make these a bit more visible, these green lines, but this is their base right now. So he's figuring out who to attack. When you want to attack, there is a cost to do it, and you've got to pay off the cops to actually do it. So you've got to make sure that they're out of the way. So they take the bullion. The more police activity there is from recent battles, the more expensive that becomes. As soon as war is declared, there's a prep timer. That's going to take 4 hours, 8 hours, something like that. Yeah. Just enough to give each side to get their boosts sorted, get their strategies in order, get people back online, ready to attack. We've set it to 1 minute there just so it can run down. I can probably speed it up a little. just wait. So so during this prep time, people can select which boosts they want.
Right.
They can invest in their gang members, in their other colleagues' boosts. And once the prep timer runs out, war begins. We're going to have a load more visual effects that actually denote, so everyone can see, by the way, which gangs are at war. When you're looking around the city, there's going to be stuff going on. And then to go, once you're at war, you'll be able to go into the actual the view of the battle itself as you're going to do it.
You need to use that warriors come out and play voiceover.
Yeah.
Yes,
That would be
definitely. There's an example of a turf war ending. So after 24 hours, if or whoever's beat the boss base first, you'll get these. This will be part of the sequence that ends it.
I love that. I mean, you can't give me enough stats about what happened and who's on top of who and who outperformed who.
And people
There-
really want
Peggle.
that.
So there's a game called Peggle from
Yeah.
what's it called?
Popcat.
PopCap.